When Sarah moved into her grandmother's old house, she found it filled with strange and antique items, but one thing stood out more than the rest: a large old mirror in the upstairs hallway. It was beautiful but eerie, framed with dark silver and twisted thorn-like patterns. Something about it felt wrong, as though it was holding on to secrets. The townspeople warned her about it, saying her grandmother had become fearful after buying it. They called it the cursed mirror, and claimed her grandmother would often talk to it, mumbling about a woman named Amelia. But Sarah didn't believe in curses. She thought it was just a creepy story meant to scare her. On her first night in the house, Sarah felt uneasy. The house made strange sounds, and shadows seemed to flicker in the corner of her eye. Before she went to bed, she threw a sheet over the mirror to stop herself from looking at it. But as she lay in bed, she thought she heard a soft whisper calling her name. Sarah. She sat up, startled, her heart pounding. She convinced herself it was just a trick of her mind, and tried to go back to sleep. The next day, Sarah took the sheet off the mirror and looked at her reflection. But as she stared, she noticed something odd. Her eyes in the reflection looked different, darker, hollow, like they didn't belong to her. It was like someone else was staring back at her. She blinked, but the strange look in her reflection didn't go away. Curious and worried, she started reading her grandmother's old journals. In one entry, her grandmother wrote about a woman named Amelia, who had once owned the mirror. Amelia had been beautiful, but deeply jealous. She thought her husband was in love with someone else, and in her rage, she had killed him. Stricken with guilt, she locked herself in a room with the mirror, staring at it for days until she finally died. When she was found, her face was twisted in anger and sorrow, and the mirror looked foggy and dark, as if it had taken her sadness and anger into itself. Each night, after reading that, Sarah's sleep grew worse. She would hear soft whispers, and when she looked in the mirror, her reflection looked even stranger. She could swear she saw another face, Amelia's face, staring back, filled with anger and sadness. One night, as Sarah looked into the mirror, she felt frozen in place. She couldn't look away. Slowly, another figure appeared in the mirror, beside her, a woman with tangled dark hair and a thin, pale face, twisted in anger. It was Amelia. "Why are you here?" Sarah managed to whisper. Amelia's voice filled her head. "Because you have what I lost. Happiness. Freedom." Sarah felt tears sliding down her face, but they weren't hers. They felt like they belonged to Amelia. She realized Amelia's spirit was trying to take control of her body, to use her life as a way to escape the mirror. In a flash, Sarah remembered something from her grandmother's journal: break the mirror to end the curse. With all her strength, she reached for a heavy vase on the table next to her, and smashed it against the mirror. The glass shattered into tiny pieces, each reflecting a small part of Amelia's face. A terrible scream filled the room, as Amelia's spirit was finally set free. When it was over, Sarah fell to the door, breathing hard. The mirror was broken, and the room was silent. Amelia was gone. The next day, Sarah carefully picked up the shards of glass and buried them in the backyard, hoping to lay Amelia's spirit to rest forever. But as she turned back to the house, she felt a chill, as if someone was watching her from the shadows, and for a moment, she thought she saw a shadowy figure standing next to the grave, a woman with sad, angry eyes watching her.